Hey guys, what's up? This is Early with Early Access Control Alpha, Beta, and Abandoned, and we are going to jump into Bellwright. Now, this is a game that just launched April 23rd, 2024 by Donkeycrew and Snail Games. Yes, that's right, the infamous Snail Games. So, what we're really kind of looking at doing is I've already played a whole whack. I've played literally up until ooh, I think I have 7 minutes left of playtime. So we're going to check a little bit of the game out through my past footage. I'm going to give you an overview via voiceover, and we're going to talk about the state of the game, what it's like, and give you a little bit of insight on, I guess, what you're going to get into. Now, keep in mind, Snail Games is a little bit infamous, in my opinion. They publish a lot of game. Well, they begin to publish a lot of games, and they seldom finish them. Just think of Atlas, the shipbuilding arc type game that they have in their repertoire, and that's a disaster, man. So that game started off super super strong, and anyways, it bombed. They did several wipes, calved all the servers, changed everything up, and now they've just continue on selling it, and the game's dying and failing and breaking and all that kind of shit. So Snail Games is a huge red flag. I don't know anything about Donkeycrew or these guys, but let's talk about the game. So early access, it's an RPG. Let's say it's a medieval sim, I guess. There is some NPC management, little town builder kind of lights, a little bit, yeah, a little kind of, I guess, settlement type building. But there's also RPG elements in here, and there's exploration, these kind of things. It's a survival game. It's a survival light game, and there's a bunch of things that seem pretty cool about this game, but there's also a bunch of games that I absolutely dislike, and it's to the point where I don't know what to do. So I'm getting close to the 2 hour mark, and I'm like, oh, I want to really invest in this game. I want to see it do well, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I can't really I can't get behind it yet. And I would love to hear what the community thinks, what you guys, if you guys have played this, and maybe we can share a little bit of information. But the game starts out, you spawn in a ruin, and you get a little bit of lore, a little bit of feedback from where you are, or how you're starting out, and then from there it goes straight into there's objects on the ground, materials. You start grabbing them, start picking them up, and they go into your inventory. And that's pretty much where, beyond the aesthetics and the look of the world, which really atmospheric, love it. It sounds great, it looks great, movement's clean, everything seems very very polished until you get to the inventory system in this game. And a lot of people seem like, there's the typical people that will jump behind a project and not let you say anything negative about it. And they like, they kind of jump into an area, and they want it to do well because maybe they're having fun, right? But one of the biggest frustrations things is this slot based inventory they're using. So literally every single item that you're picking up is taking up a slot. That means whether if it's a berry or a rock, it's a slot. And so when you're limited to how many slots you can have and there's no stacking, it's extremely frustrating. It's a little Diablo-esque if you want to give it a comparison. Now you'll pick up a log, and the log will take like 2 spots, and then you'll craft a torch, and the torch will take 2 spots, or you pick up like a trap and it'll take even more. But the math behind the objects and how many slots they take doesn't make sense. And you'll see on your own if you do play this. But beyond that, in the initial stages, the world is fantastic, looks really good. It's clean, polished. I like it. I haven't ventured very far into it, and so it's one of those things where I want to keep playing it because I want to see what's out there. I haven't even really gotten in a decent combat scenario yet because I've been dinking around with some of the other features in this game that, I'll be honest, I'm not loving, and I want to give it a chance, but it's one of those situations where I just we'll see. So when you enter the gate, you get a little bit of lore. You start into the world, and you start picking up your rocks and stones and berries, and moving along and looking for what else you're going to do. And you come across a town eventually. We get to the town. The town's great. They did a wonderful job. There's quite a few NPCs walking around. They interact with you as you're passing by, and you can talk to them. And there are quests and stuff, right? So the first thing you have to do is you have to go and meet the elder of the village. And when you get the elder village, when you get to the elder of the village, you clue in to why people are being so rude to you. they don't want to. They don't want you around their cool little world here, and you're. I guess you're an outsider, and they're just scrutinizing you very heavily. So you make your way to your to the elder, and he's going to kind of dictate what you're going to do next in the initial parts of the game, and it's pretty straightforward. So you can explore around. There's lots of kind of cool things in the village. They've, like I said, they've done a great job kind of laying it out. I don't know if there's other large cities or towns in this game. That will remain to be seen. But right now, they've done a great job on this, the developers, and it feels really good going through it. So it does pique my interest in on staying with this game and trying to see what my path is like with interacting through this village. I do know it's an NPC management system, right? Because I've made it to a certain degree in the game, and you can collect followers and companions that act like a certain. Well, I won't spoil it yet, but that's a big part of the play style in this game. So as you're kind of progressing through it, you I suppose there's going to be other ones that you'll meet in town, and they'll become companions of yours. You know, I guess kind of think of like Lego Fortnite or something like that, with the little guys that come up to your camp, and you're like, hey, can I sleep here? And then you build them a bed, and then they're party living with you. This game's kind of got a more elaborate system than that, but it's the same. Really, it's the same kind of idea if you if you're being completely honest. So you talk to the elder. The elder's like, I don't really like you. You got to prove yourself. So go off and find, maybe come back and see me tomorrow. And so you go off and you have to place your camp somewhere within wherever you want to do it. Keep in mind, I should point out that where you put your camp down and you start building your stuff, that's going to be basically where you're going to start your settlement. So they don't really do a great job telling you that, because it's a nuanced kind. Well, it's not nuanced, but let's just say it's a interesting system that they have for building and management of things. So obviously you don't know that when you start the game, so it becomes a situation where like, well, I'm just going to put this down here. So what I did is I ran right behind the village and I plunked my camp down, because I thought, hey, I'm going to be close to the villagers. I'm just going to stay here and I'll run back and see the elder dude, and we can be friends and I can go on my way. What I didn't realize is that if you're in a zone that's too close to the town, all the material that is freely laying around, you can't even grab it because it belongs to the town. So that was a little bit frustrating. So that kind of thing, coupled with the slot-based inventory, means, okay, resource management is going to be a big deal. So I find a spot, I plunk it down. I'm like, okay, I need this and this and this to build my little house, and I set off, and you got to make several trips, like I said, because everything's slot based. Resource management is kind of an important part, and once you do have enough materials, they've added this little mini game thing to build stuff, and it's kind of cool the first time you do it, but then it gets old really fast, and it just it's not fun. So when you're doing this for even something as small like a little piece of furniture, you still got to run around and click these white dots and interact with the structure. I get what they're trying to achieve, but it doesn't really flow very well with everything else in this game. So I think it's kind of like one of those things where it's added to try to be different. It does a good job of being different, but it's not needed. So you go through the motions of gathering every little stick and stone and branch and all that kind of stuff you need to build your little hut, and then ta-da, you've got a little base, which is nice because it actually, when it's completed and it looks great, then yeah, you get to see a nice little campfire and everything's set up for you, and yeah, it looks good. I mean, it's a cool beginning stage. I don't know how these buildings evolve if they get out of this little wigwam kind of lean-to type, tent or whatever we're looking at, but I would like to think that it's going to evolve significantly. Again, I don't know much more than the initial stages of this, so I'm really giving you just insight into what you're going to expect for the first 2 hours. And I'm on the fence, man. So what I actually ended up doing, and I actually paused this game for a little bit, and I recorded more because I was trying to really figure out what I could actually achieve here. So now I am literally at 119 minutes, and I got a minute left to play time to in order to decide if I want to play this or not. And so I honestly don't know. So that being said, after you get your little house built, you've got to begin doing, constructing your other tables and getting involved with progressing your camp and progressing what you need. So the same little mini games involved with creating what like a crafting table or a research bench or all those kind of things. And how you learn recipes is through your research bench, but it becomes kind of locked behind the first NPC that you need to acquire. So when you go back to the elder, he's going to tell you there's this douchebag that we kicked out of camp. Go make friends with him, bring him back, and we will be maybe we can be friends. And so you go about and you set out and you find this guy who you meet, and then you eventually recruit him to your game. And I guess I guess their job is one of three things. You can use them as a companion, so they can go and fight stuff with you, which is cool. They can use you as a laborer or like a worker around the camp. So I guess that means maybe they can go get you wood and sticks and stuff like that, or they can complete jobs for you, and you can assign them to work stations essentially. But beyond that, I don't really know because I haven't played too far. I have gotten into there is a little icon that pops up when you're completed the relationship portion. Excuse me, and it refers to them as being an army, and so the army portion is like okay, well, I don't know how that like I'm not playing multiplayer, so I guess it's strictly against NPC bandits and stuff like that. So I'm not even certain if they're what level of multiplayer this game actually has. I've heard co-op, so there might be one to four people that can play on one of your servers. Don't really know much more about it, but for the army concept, NPC bandit camps are scattered around, and I have read through the forums that they do attack your camp. So there is a component to that where you're going to have to fortify and you're going to strengthen up your enemies and all that kind of stuff. Um, I should touch on the food system. So it's a survival light, right? So you're building stuff, and then the only thing you're really managing is hunger. Hunger is kind of weird, if you ask me. So you cook a piece of food and you slot it in one of those three slots by your hotbar, and you can equip three types of food that have a duration, and those foods act like a buff. You can't eat more to get health, or you can't really eat more to do anything. It's strictly a buff, and it maintains your hunger as well. And the NPCs have the exact same system. But apparently, from what I read, is that NPCs can struggle to to eat, and they could starve or leave the camp if they're not being fed. And so, not only are you managing a slot-based inventory where it's troublesome to gather equipment to or ingredients to bank up a whole bunch of stuff, like and produce food, you are also like constantly making food and preparing your NPCs to either defend your building or take them out with you so they can survive and they'll be happy, and they I guess they have energy. So it feels very cumbersome to kind of have to manage that, as well as just picking up random stuff. Like there's no reason a berry needs to be a single slot. It should stack, and there's no reason twigs or branches shouldn't stack, and stones should stack, and all these kind of things should stack. I get it when you're crafting an actual item that they don't stack and they can take up more slots, but you really got to fix that because people will be stuck like me deciding whether or not they're going to continue playing sheerly off of that. And then I'd seriously change up the hunger system, elaborate on it, change it a little bit, make it so that you know you can stack food and store it, and then perhaps you can those stacks can autofill when you give them to an NPC. So you give them a stack of 10 rice cakes or whatever you make, and they keep refilling themselves. Maybe they do. I haven't really tried it, but If it doesn't have that, that's probably quite frustrating. So you bring your guy back to your camp, and then lo and behold, you have one NPC, and then you're off, I guess, trying to make a decision if you're gonna like go through and level up with him, and then I guess you gotta unlock more NPCs. So possibly it's similar to Enshrouded and how they've kind of brought followers to the camps or to your location, but how Enshrouded has done it is, in my opinion, much more interactive and better. There's a purpose for those NPCs. These guys feel more like just really drones in your camp. Although I haven't tried combat or using them as defense or anything like that, but to be honest, I'm not even really excited about it. So with that said, I'm sitting at 119 minutes and I don't know what I should do. And I'm going to sit here for probably another few days and see if I can get any more feedback from people and to help me make this decision. There's a couple red flags about this game. Well, one red flag and then a couple things that just aren't driving for me. And although it looks really polished, I'm on the fence, man. So that's Bellwright in a nutshell. I want you guys to leave me some comments if you played it, if you're thinking about playing it. Let me know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. Maybe it's going to be good. Maybe it's going to be bad. I don't know. But in the end, that's what you're kind of facing. So if I do keep it, I will let you know, and I'll progress a little bit further, and at least I'll be able to give you a little bit more insight. But that's all I got for you guys. So thanks for watching. Yeah, make sure you leave me a comment regarding this game, and please like and subscribe and share this video around, and let's grow this channel. Thanks, guys.